Yo, we are back in After Effects, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to create this optics fade transition right here inside of After Effects. It's pretty simple to achieve and it looks hella cool, so I'm gonna show you how to do this. So to make that transition, I have these two clips on my timeline which we're gonna use to make the transition on. So firstly, to start off, just select your first clip and just hit Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it, and then go over to the last frame of your first clip, then right click on it, go to where it says time and just hit freeze frame right here. What it will do is turn it into a simple image right here. It will froze it. So then you can just extend the back, so something like this, and you can just trim it so it happens at the last after your clips like finishes, so something like this maybe. So now in here we're gonna make a opacity animation. So for that, select your freeze frame. You can actually name it freeze frame right here, so it is easier for you, freeze frame. And then you can hit T on the keyboard and bring up the opacity, go over to the last frame and just set it to 0, something like this, and put the keyframe at the last. Then now if you play through, you can see we have this simple fade transition going on. Maybe you can just bring up the keyframe a little bit, one frame through us, so it feels a little smoother right there, but it's cool. Now as it fades in, you can add some blur in it. For that you can use like a fast box blur, but what I like to use is a minimax. If you don't already know, minimax gives that like a shiny type of blur, you can say. So just hit the stopwatch in radius, go over to the end around like here and just bring up the radius to around like 11 or 12. So you can see we get the effect like this with the minimax. Maybe it's just too much. Yeah, something like that. Now after the minimax, we're gonna add a warp in here to transition through. So for that, just make a new adjustment layer on top of everything and just add an effect called warp in here. Then in warp style from arc, just set it to fisheye. Now in warp in bend, just set it to 0 firstly, and hit the stopwatch in bend right here, and hit U on the timeline to bring up the keyframe, and go over to where the freeze frame happens, so around like here. And in bend, just set it to -100. Then go over to the last frame of your freeze frame and just set the value to 0 again. So we get this like warp effect right here. Maybe you can just extend the end a little bit more. Yeah, something like this. But now what you can do is ease those keyframe, go into graph, make sure you're in value graph right here, and in the first graph just make it tight, something like this, maybe something like this. Yeah, something like this, so it happens pretty fast right there. And in the second one, just make a graph like this, so something like this. So we have our animation looking something like this. Now to make it more smoother, we're gonna add another adjustment layer, and in this adjustment layer you can add like an exposure and a shake to get the impact. But for me, I like to use some wiggle in it. So for the wiggle, I like to use my essential effects wiggles. So I'm just gonna open up my animation presets, go over to user presets, and in essential effects I'm gonna use the Asim best wiggle right here. So if I just drag and drop this preset on my timeline right here and just trim it where I want to start it, then now you have playthrough, you can see we have this crazy wiggle effect going on. So yeah, if you don't already know about my pack essential effects and transition, what it does, it comes with like 40 plus preset for your music video that you can drag and drop and instantly add some cool effects and transitions to your music video like I did right now. Comes with 40 plus presets and all of those are literally goated. So if you want to check it out, I'll link it in the description. Trust me, it will level up your work so much and save a lot of time as well. So I'll link it in the description if you want to download. But in here you can see we have the wiggle going on. Of course, if you don't have my pack, as I said, you can use like a shake or like a simple exposure keyframe or like a chirp as well. But now we are pretty much done. But one thing I like to do before we end this effect right here is select all of these and just right click and hit pre-comp right here. Then just go over to the first frame of the first clip and just hit S in my keyboard to bring up the scale and put the scale keyframe around over like here. Then just scale it in, so something like this, scale in at the first. Then you can F9 to ease those keyframes and go to where it says graph and make sure you're in value graph and just make a tight graph like this. So insanely tight graph, something like this. or maybe a little more tighter. Yeah, then you can toggle switches and motion and enable the motion blur to get it a little more smoother as well. Then now if I play through, you can see our transition looks hella smooth after the little zoom right there. So yeah, with it I think we are done, and our final effect looks something like this. So that's it for today's video, guys. If you like this video, please consider hitting the like button and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. I keep consistently dropping songs like these on my channel, and I really appreciate it as well. If you want to make your workflow faster, go ahead to my site and grab some presets from there, because it is literally goated. But I'ma see you on the next one. Peace.